going on, Jerome's? As football season approaches, more importantly, fantasy football season approaches as well. Now, used to be a little bit too much into fantasy. It was in 7-8 leagues. I've pared it down to about 3. And I still love it. It's still really fun, a fun way to interact with old friends and colleagues, as well as talk a little bit of ish, as well as make a little moolah, a couple of jelly beans on the side. And speaking of making jelly beans, Alexander Mattison signed a 2-year multiple jelly bean deal to return as the Vikings RB1. Dalvin Cook was released, recently signed with the Jets. So Deuce is numero uno atop the running back depth chart. And the question is, what is his fantasy value going to be this season? And it is sort of up in the air. I know a lot of people poo-poo on Mattison because he was Dalvin's backup for a number of years. And also Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings went to more of a vertical passing game attack last season. So what is Mattison's value going to be? Let's dive on in. So Ben Hall wrote up a great article about Mattison over at DraftKings this week. Blah, 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 blah. This is what he wrote. Best case scenario, Mattison puts up numbers similar to what Cook did last season. Cook finished as running back 9, blah, 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 blah. Minnesota is a pass-first offense, but still we'll get into that, but still gets its running backs involved. Mattison has shown pass-catching ability in his career, so that he will be on the field for most of these snaps. I expect him to average at least 13 standard fantasy points per game this season. Who plays standard? Worst case scenario, barring injury, the worst I can see Mattison finishing is RB 15-16. We saw how many plays Cook made in this electric offense, so Mattison should do the same. However, there could be issues in transitioning to number 1 running back for Mattison, as he filled in for Cook at RB1 in the past, but never played a full season in the role. Prediction: Mattison finishes right around running back 9 or 10, which I guess is fair. Although you look around, so this is ESPN's rankings. They have Mattison at 18. Now, these have not been updated because Stevenson is still high, although I don't think Zeke is going to be much of an impact there. Breece Hall is still at 20, even though he's coming back from injury, and now they got Dalvin in the mix as well. So I think it really impacts Mattison that much, but they have him behind guys like Kenneth Walker, who's also injured and potentially splitting work with Charbonnet in Seattle, James Conner, Jahmyr Gibbs, the rookie, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, who's probably going to be facing a suspension, Etienne, who could be challenged in Jacksonville by Tank Bigsby. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors in there. And Mattison, this is from Pro Football Network. So Mattison checks in at running back 19 for them. Again, behind guys like Miles Sanders, who could be in a bit of a quagmire, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, who's injured, may still be on the pup to start the season. So, I mean, either way, Madison's getting poo-pooed on a little bit, but there's a couple things to factor in where, coming into training camp, you didn't really know how the Vikings running back room was going to shake up. And would Ty Chandler work his way into the mix as like a running back 1B? What about King Kene? What about Dwayne McBride? Could he come in and steal some early down and goal line work? Well, I think as of right now, I mean, Mattison is easily top dog. Chandler has shown a little something. King Kene has been injured. Dwayne McBride hasn't really got off the launching pad yet. So I think that Alexander Mattison, where we had our doubts if he was going to be that true blue 1-for-1 replacement for Dalvin, getting 75-80% of the work, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think that Mattison will be the lead back in this Vikings high-powered offense, which only got better. And knocking down all the wood, hopefully the offensive line will get its ish together, both in continuity as well as staying healthy. I think that was a reason why one of the reasons why Dalvin had a career low 4.4 yards per carry last year, besides getting a year older. Also, there isn't a real running back threat outside of Ty Chandler, and I think that Chandler maybe gets some passing down work mixed in there, but you don't see McBride or Kinkene at the start of the season, or Abram Smith coming in either. And even if the Vikings do sign a veteran like like Kareem Hunt or Mike Davis or whatever, I don't see them necessarily moving the needle on Madison's usage. Also, Mattison is very adept on passing downs. He's great in pass protection. Plus, A really underrated part of that is experience and communication with the offensive line and with Kirk Cousins, where when they call slide protection, he knows exactly what to do. He's been there, done that, and he's been with all these offensive line men his entire career, most of their entire career, and also Ezra Cleveland go back to Boise State. Plus, second year in this offense with Kevin O'Connell is very important too. Also, very solid receiver, so that's very important, especially in PPR scoring. 70 catches, 526 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns on 84 targets over the first 4 years of his career. Plus, so Dalvin Cook's missed 5 starts, and Mattison has started in his place. And Mattison has gotten 80% of the running back touches in those 5 games with Dalvin completely out. So not even a factor in the game. Now, that includes CJ Ham work as well, so you can even bump that up more for tailback work. Now, yes, different coaches, all 5 of those were under Zimmer, different OCs, etc. But it is noteworthy that with Dalvin out, Mattison got a ton of that work. And those 5 games, his touches were 11, 32, 32, 25, and 17. So that's pretty damn significant. Also, he's going to get the majority of the goal line work, where looking at the running back room right now, like outside of Abram Smith, who I think is going to be very slim chance to make the team, none of these guys are really going to move the needle inside the 5, except for Mattison. So I think Madison's going to get the bulk of the goal line work. Plus, everyone is painting the Vikings offense with a broad brush because of what they did last year. They want to throw the ball. But if you've been paying attention to training camp and the preseason and also the roster moves, bringing in Josh Oliver, who's the best blocking tight end in the game, re-signing CJ Ham to a sizable deal, working a lot more 12 personnel into the offense, the Vikings want to run the ball. And they want to run it with authority, and they want to run it down in the goal line. So I think Mattison has a sneaky chance to be at least a top 10, but maybe even a top 7, 8 fantasy running back this year, because he's going to get the majority of the work. He's a 3-down back. He's going to get most of the goal line work on a team that is going to have a sneaky dedication to the run, despite having Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson. So I'm all in, man. I'm all aboard the hype train for Alexander Mattison in fantasy this year. And hey, it's okay. Have his ADP be low. I'll snatch him up a little bit later on, and he'll be a threat. He will be an absolute monster this year. But your thoughts are thoughts. Alexander Mattison fantasy value in 2023. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol production value.